My name is Kathy Milanowski, and I'm going to be your moderator. We have actually five panelists ahead of us right here that you see, and they're going to help and they're going to talk and answer your questions. And we have some questions already have here. So a little bit about me. I am a founder of the Reiki Studio. Reiki Studio is designed to enhance light workers to empower and educate and to just share their journey together. We are here as one, we're all connected, but we have all separate paths and we're all different. And that's what makes us so uniquely beautiful to me. So I got Reiki Studio together for that. And so a little bit about it, we have developed in the last couple weeks that on Mondays we are offering our services underneath of a blog. On Tuesdays, we're doing memes and talking about them. So you could just forward them to Reiki Studio and we will put them out there. And please put something above it, what you think, your thoughts, your voice. It's important to us and it helps us get to know each other, you know? Wednesday, we're offering Reiki or any kind of love and light and healing. It's you could do a 5-minute little take of yourself in a video and then send it to Reiki Studio and we'll post it out there for you. Thursdays is just, I have a string coming out, a blog saying, would you like some extra love and extra Reiki? And the community starts giving that. And you just put your name or the situation or whatever you want on that post. And then Friday, every other Friday, I am going to try to offer something about 10 o'clock in the morning. And 2 Fridays from now, it will be about impasse. So if you're interested in something like that, let me know. Connect with me if you'd like to be in the event itself, like these beautiful panelists that we have today. So, as the little, and then I am a licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center Reiki Training. I'm a holographic practitioner. I'm a Akashic record reader. I'm an ant and plant communicator. Just give me anything. Crystal grid educator and an all love facilitator. So we're going to go around our panelists and we're going to just introduce them. So Landry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Relevant to this panel, I am a practitioner like shadow magic, kind of a chaos magic bent. And I also do work in the kink community in the Madison area. And I do service topping at various events. And I do scene work, and I tend to emphasize working with people, bringing spiritual energy to every part of what I do with them. So that's why I'm here, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sherry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sherry Teagle. I'm in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And I met Kathy at an all love class a few years ago. I teach all love as well. We were at Patrick Ziegler's class. I am a Reiki master. I have been, let's see, I guess you could say 3 kinds of Reiki master. Gendai Reiki, Usui Reiki, and Sakem Sakim Reiki. And I am also a Tantrika. Working with the sacred sexual and helping people embrace who they are at every level and heal that part of themselves or deepen it, and realizing how you can work with the sacred energies to actually propel you into bliss, to propel you into awakening. So that's a snippet of who I am. And I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Kathy, for inviting me. And I'm excited about our talk together today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Gary.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Gary Chatham. I'm in the Peoria, Illinois area. I'm a transformational life coach and have a master's in counseling. And I worked in the traditional therapy field for a while, but have moved on so I can do a more spiritually based therapy. And I often combine Reiki with that. So I've been a Reiki master, Ananta Reiki, since 2004. And started with Reiki, back in 1993. And I also have a bachelor's in marketing, so I've done business coaching work and technology work of getting practitioners online. Also building a couple holistic health directory sites, starting with Peoria, moving into other cities. So the basic one is going up at holisticpeoria.com. So thank you, Kathy, for inviting me, and looking forward to this.
Thank you. Dana. Oh, wait, there you go. You have to unmute yourself. I muted you accidentally.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Dana Bartlett. I live in Mobile, Alabama. I do all things energy. I am a Reiki master, a Shihan Kaku Jikiden Reiki master. I study Tai Chi. I study meditation. Just anything to do with the energies of the body. I love it. It's amazing. And thank you for having me today, Kathy.
You're so very welcome. Jerry, Becky is from Peoria, Illinois, and she said hello. So, and there's
Hello.
and there's a couple other questions. Is Joel, just to let you guys know, is interested in learning Tantra also. Christine wanted to know a little bit more where places, just to have in your minds, guys, places where you can learn Tantra. So, just Tantra. So, just let you know. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. Tanis. Would you like to introduce
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having me today, Kathy. I'm excited to have such a variety of practitioners on the call. That's awesome. So for myself, I'm a Reiki master, aqua lead master, crystal master. I'm also a Celtic shamanic high priestess. And so, yeah, so the sacred sexuality, the sacred part is important for me. And of course, working with the energies and the connection of the higher self during the process is my focus. So anyway, so thank you very much for having me. I'm also an HR consultant, my other hat, so just as an aside. And I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Well, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. All right, everybody. Thank you. I really do appreciate you stepping up and helping me with this, and your time is very valuable. So thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go with the first question. What is sacred sexuality? Right? So who would like to speak on that? Who would like to speak? Tanis, would you like to speak on it since you were talking, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, so for me, the sacred piece is bringing in that connection of the higher self. So yes, there's the physical aspect of sex, but when you get into the sacred sexuality, it's about connecting on a deeper level, being more in tune, creating intimacy, connecting with the divine at the same time, and sort of creating that, using what they call the cosmic orbit to increase the sexual energy that's running through.
And what is the cosmic orbit? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's like the channel of energy that runs through the body. I'm sure Sherry probably has a little bit more to say about that. I'm sure she's probably studied that in the tantra stuff, but we use it in Reiki as well when you're doing attunement. So you're basically building the energy in the body by creating a channel that runs. Yeah, so that's we're creating a channel of energy that runs all the way through the body. It comes down the front and back up the back. And when we contract muscles and touch the roof to our touch the tongue to the roof of our mouth, we create that channel. And so we increase our own energy and can run a lot more energy by doing that. And we're basically clenching like the perineum muscles to connect down there as well. So it really creates that sort of increase in energy. So maybe Sherry would like to.
Yeah, and with yourself and other people that maybe talk to you about it, is there different? I mean, people process things a little different than you know what I mean. Some people are feelers. Some people, they use their senses in different ways to try to feel this orbit. And to me, it's kind of like polarity. I actually feel an orbit going on, boom, 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 and and it goes through. And some people actually will hear it; they won't feel it, and they think, well, something's wrong with me. I'm just hearing some like singing bowls down in my being doing this symphony. So it's kind of. Did you ever come across that everybody with their senses that it might heighten something else, how they perceive what's going on with their cosmic orbit and how it's moving?
Well, whenever we increase our own vibration, right, we all vibrate between 63 and 73 megahertz, right? So when we increase that vibration, it increases all of our abilities, sensations, all of those things, right? Because I often describe it like when you're looking at your psychic abilities or your sensations, your sensitivities, I kind of describe it like the dog whistle, right? So our hearing range is here, and when we have a dog whistle, it's up here, it's out of our hearing range. But when we raise our vibration, we increase our spectrum of what our sensitivities are. So we're actually able to tap into those higher frequencies. So when you're doing that, that's kind of how you're building the energy in order to create more sensation. So I would think that with sacred sexuality, you're really doing that so that you can create more connection with the divine as well as with your partner.
Okay. So when you connect the make the orbit, do you do it on your own? What I mean is as an individual, or are you with another person to ignite? Do you do it together? Can you do it alone? Can you know what I mean? Like it with the orbit.
I mean, you start with yourself.
Okay. I do too. I'm just asking. I mean, I'm just asking. I'm asking a question now.
Yeah, we always start with ourselves.
Okay.
And maybe Sherry can add some on this because I think she's probably the expert on that when it comes to tantra. So let's
click to her. All right, Sharon. All right, Sharon. Here we go. Thank you, Tanis. That was great. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. And remember, guys, if you have any questions about sacred sexuality right now, this is the time to type it down. Here we are.
And it looked like Lantry had something to say about the microcosmic orbit as well. Want to say something, Lantry?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, just that. That's. I mean, I that's not terminology that I was previously familiar with for it, but yeah, that's a big part of what I do when I'm working with someone, when I'm setting up a scene and trying to. I think it's very important, and I think a lot of people, like, especially in BDSM culture, they tend to get away from the spiritual aspect, and I think that robs them of half of the joy. And so I try to bring that back into those settings, and just trying to tune into people on different levels and finding that higher frequency with them. That's a big part of what I do. And it can be very transformative and cathartic, and then people don't get it until they get it, So yeah, it was just very exciting to hear someone else talking about this. And
it is. It's nice to know that you're not alone on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you get confirmation that, this feeling of universe inside me and it's making this, beautiful wave going up and around my body is real, and if you don't go to classes or something and they tell you about it, they make a confirmation that, you're not going out of your mind or out of your body. You're doing okay. Well, thank you. Sherry, do you want to top on that?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I think that often when we talk about sexuality, we think partnership. People would ask me, well, if I come to your Tantra class, do I have to bring a partner? And I'm like, no, of course not. Because the first place that you need to practice and learn is alone. You need to learn to work with your own self-pleasure and bring that energy of beyond the spirit, the fact that we not everybody may believe this, but we're not just this body. we are everything. We are connected to everything. And because of our programming, we don't realize that. So I think that working with the microcosmic orbit is a beautiful way to do that. Working with the masculine and feminine energies within us and blending them and going into a state of bliss with that is sweet. With the partnered work, basically the microcosmic orbit is the yab-yum. Yab-yum in Tantra means father, mother. And the woman sits in the man's lap, or the person holding the masculine energy holds the feminine energy in their lap. And the lingam, or the penis, is inside the partner, the female partner. And you breathe the energy out through the penis. It goes up the woman's spine, comes out her head, and goes into his head, goes, wait a minute, I may get this confused. Let's see, up.
Okay.
Basically, you're doing the microcosmic orbit between two people.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes up the woman's spine, out her head, and down the man's spine, and then up the, yes, we're doing
Making
that
a circle.
So it's a wonderful and very intense experience. So yes, that's my experience with the yab-yum.
Yeah, beautiful.
Looks like Gary has something to say.
Yeah, you got it, Gary. There you go.
Yeah, I agree with what Sherry was saying, and you have to work on yourself first. It's about getting in touch with yourself and your own energy. And as you work on increasing that energy flow through Tantra or sacred sex, you're going to run into blocks. So you'll run into places within yourself that need to be healed. And the same thing happens with relationships in general. In any kind of relationship, you're going to run into things within yourself that need to be healed. So of course, I'm talking from my own perspective, but in a sexual relationship, and especially as you start working with sacred sexuality, you'll feel which chakras, which areas have a block. And then that's an opportunity to take a look at that and see what you can do for healing. And it usually takes help from somebody else to get that healed and cleared.
And what do you think some of the steps you can do if you are starting this out and saying, well, I don't know how to pick somebody to work with this? You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch of different kind of lines of therapy out there. There's you could just go up the streets. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's healthy? What's your, what have you seen as that you could tell somebody that's a little bit confused right now of how to start on their healing journey?
Well, like you said, it's finding somebody to work with, and that doesn't mean that we always have to every time, but when you're first starting out, it does. So I would look for someone who has training in counseling or life coaching, but also understands energy and can work with the energy. So one of the blessings of the whole COVID time we're in is we can work virtually with people and work with people from any location. So you're not limited to your local area anymore, trying to find a counselor that is going to understand what I'm talking about with energy. So you can look online and look for exactly what you're looking for with that. But sacred sexuality is about increasing connection, and Sherry might want to have more to say with this too, but it's increasing connection with yourself, getting in touch with your own energy blocks. It's increasing your connection with your partner, and it's increasing connection with the divine. So through the sexual act, we're increasing that connection with the divine, and that's part of the process. That's a big part of the process. So with Tantra, you're first focused on your own energy. It was a path to enlightenment first, just like Reiki, rather than it was trying to be a sexual thing, but the sex is part of that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Somebody just told you thank you about that. They're writing down a whole bunch of stuff, so you see me. I'm listening. I promise. To go back out to what we were talking about a little bit, and you could address this if you want to, Gary, or not, about the partners that we were talking about the well, this might be addressed to. Let me see. Wait a minute. So I don't keep going on. All right. I think this is going to be addressed to Sherry, Gary. Okay. Or somebody that wants to do it. They're asking when we were talking about, since we have a 30-second good lag here, when we were talking about the orbit, or Gary, you could talk about, what about if you had a same-sex partner? So how would that work? Who would be carrying? How would you know who would be carrying? The more female, would be like that you were talking about, Sherry, that one time?
Basically, someone chooses to be the receiver and someone chooses to be the giver.
Okay.
You know, it's the receiving energy versus the giving energy, and it would be you could change back and forth.
Right.
So that would be the way that. And Lantry, did you want to have something to say about that?
I absolutely have experience with that. I am a gender fluid person, and sometimes I will be some of one, some of the other, and some of both. And I've had various partners who were trans or non-binary, and you really still can. The energy flow is still there. It's not different. I mean, it's just as different as any individual. Your energy flow is really going to be more about the individual connection you make with each person, and not we don't need to be as attached to these gender polarized ideas as a lot of the resources out there say. I mean, there is that masculine energy and that feminine energy, and you can cultivate that. It doesn't have to be done that from that perspective. You really you got to feel it with each person that you're with, and or within yourself. And so in answer to whoever was asking the question about it, it really, that flow is definitely still there, and you can have that, and it can be mutual. It can be going both ways at the same time also. And I have a lot of experience with all of that. So, probably just asterisk, anytime we talk about masculine energy and feminine energy, for anyone listening to this, just, you can still flip it the other way, or both directions at once. So don't let that be a hang up that stops you from exploring this. That's all I would have to say to that.
Thank you.
Kathy?
Yes, ma'am. Let me get you on.
I would just like to say, when you're talking about sexuality and having sex with people, it's all about intention. What is your intention? You need to have good intentions for yourself. You need to have your energies right. You need to have yourself right. You need to be with a partner who has good intentions for you, good intentions for themselves. The ultimate goal in sex, sacred sex, or any sex really, is to reach something that you can't on a day-to-day basis touch. You're going for something divine that's inside, the ultimate. And there's a reason, like when people say, oh God, while they're having sex, it's because they've reached a point, their energies, their exchange, and that's what you're doing. You're exchanging energies with yourself or with a partner, whether it's male, female, all of that's irrelevant. It's about the intention and the respect that you bring to that relationship and where your goals are to go with that relationship. Some people want to stop at this level. Some people are a little more trying and testing, and so they go to this level. And then some people take it, way to the extreme. But to get to the extreme, to make it to that third level orgasm for a female, you have to have a comfortable, trusting, open relationship with your partner and with yourself.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I got a question for you, a Reiki question. Oh, yes, Gary. Now, then I'll get
Yeah, one quickie thing that's related to that is we all have male and female energy. And so if that is out of balance, if somebody's totally male energy, totally female, then their relationships are going to be out of balance too. So that's different from the role you're playing in the relationship or in the sexual act. You may play a male role or female role. But again, a lot of sacred sexuality comes back to working on yourself, like Sherry was saying, and getting in touch with yourself, healing yourself. So it's balancing that male and female energy within yourself and then seeing which role you're comfortable with. That's all I was going to say
That's
with that.
beautiful. I like that. Thank you very much. So I got a question about, because we, after we were talking about that, there was one about the internet. Well, here it is. Here's one of them. How do you feel about today's modernization of online sex work is affecting our intimacy and sexuality in our personal lives?
Oh, girl, I think, are you talking about like pornography?
Anything, anything. How about well, this is a question from somebody, and we could think of pornography, we could think online. I mean, online sex. There's just anything online, right?
I
A
think
chat
it's,
room, a group. I don't know. Facebook's
I,
dirty. I'm not sure.
I personally think it's the destruction of the sexuality between humans. I believe in personal one-on-one. I'm not into online sex, or I think pornography teaches people to disconnect from the body and they're connected with something they're seeing on TV that's not real. Uh, I could just go off on that conversation way down a rabbit hole, but you can let some.
Well, some people probably might like porn for visual stimulation, right? I mean, you can go over it
Absolutely.
and carry it over a little too much, you know what I mean, and get obsessed with it, obsessions about anything.
Right?
Anybody, yeah. Anybody else want to touch on that?
um,
Here we go.
I would come down very much on the other side of that argument. I believe that it's allowing people access to information, understanding, communication, being able to reach and touch someone that they might not be able to see in person. Um, uh, One of my girlfriends last year, she had like 5 different partners all online, uh, remotely, and well, she died last year. But and a number of them are still friends with me online, and we talk and we chat. It's increased our community. But a couple of them are people she'd never actually met in person, but they were just as vital to her, emotionally, sexually, as any of her in-person relationships. Um, and they've become some pretty important best friends to me, just with all of us grieving her loss, and since then. And so I believe the online sex, online sexuality is very important for a broadening community of people who might be isolated from the kinds of communities they would like to be a part of. And I also know that a lot of friends of mine in various communities are online, like cam models. They sell content. They have OnlyFans accounts, and they supplement their lives this way in an economy where they might not be able to otherwise right now. And I think that's great for them because they do, a lot of them introduce more interesting, like heartfelt content, not just like the gross commercialized pornography that we all remember. A lot of it's more spiritual, more mystical, touching on the sacred, and and I think that's opportunity for growth in the community, because it makes it less shallow. It makes it more intimate. It allows people to have a better connection to it and treat it as not something that's profane and grotesque, but something genuinely uplifting
I
and
agree with that.
valuable.
I agree with
Uh,
everything you're saying 100%. I was talking more on the lines of in a one-on-one relationship where like you live together and they're not
mm.
touching on you, they're over there watching the TV.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, I was
tragic.
in a totally different thought than you were. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is the destruction of the relationship. Once you're turning to that, you should see that as a warning sign. If you're turning to your device rather than your genuine partners, or a real connection with a human being, that's dysfunction. That's disconnection, and you're losing touch with your divine. And honestly, for a while, I was in that cycle. Years ago, and it was one of the warning signs and negative symptoms of the relationship that I had with my wife. And I think our relationship has gotten much better since since we both gotten more in touch with, we started going out in the kink community and connecting with other people and becoming part of more communities to explore other parts of ourselves. So I guess that's what I have to say on that.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Sherry, there you go.
Uh, well, my background at this point is tantric when it comes to, other than just a lifelong. I'm going to be 70 in January, so I've had a lifelong of explorations of sex and multiple partners and so forth. But one of the reasons that I'm so drawn to Tantra is the intensity of embodiment, which I don't get very close to. It's like being fully present in every moment. So can you imagine being with someone who is also in that state of full awareness and interacting, even if it's, washing the dishes together, but to actually begin to have a sexual encounter with someone that fully present is, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, I can't even say it. I can't even say it. One of the things that really triggered my hand raising is that I love the fact that in Tantra, there is no right or wrong. Now, can you imagine trying to go through life really seeing nothing is wrong? I think we spend most of our time, and particularly these days, thinking about what's wrong. And to let go of that is powerful. Now, I actually am like a little closer to what the Dalai Lama, who is the head of one Tantra tradition in the world. The Dalai Lama basically says there is no right or wrong until there is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is an inner knowing that can come up even when we don't want it to, that says, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Or propels us into action where we don't want to go. I think of in particular a time when I was propelled to be next to a friend who had lost her husband. And it wasn't something I wanted to do for multiple reasons. It was incredibly difficult to be there. But I knew that if I wasn't there, I would have gone against spirit. I would have gone against what was absolutely necessary for me to do. And I think those kinds of inner knowings come up from our soul, from whatever you want to call that. And then there is the right or wrong that comes in. But in general, it's an interesting experiment to look at the things that we immediately think of as wrong and then try to see it in a different light, or to see it as the truth of what is, if nothing else. This is the truth of what is. So.
Gotta love it, those different perspectives. Right? So why got you here? Wait a minute. Let's get into this tantra thing. One thing though, before we get into tantra, because I would like you to explain what tantra is and the different avenues of tantra, because you put the Dalai Lama up there, and there's different tantras, right? But before that, I like to get there's a Reiki question out there, guys, and the question is: would helping connection to be connected to the sacral chakra healing first and foremost? So I think they're asking is that should you heal your sacral chakra, and what level, do you heal completely before you get into this sacred act, or is it a part of your journey, of healing it through the sacred act, or you're going to tell me what? Anybody would like to
Well,
talk about this?
the sacral chakra, that's your sex organ. So that's where you're going to hold all your past trauma, all your future traumas, all your happiness, joys. And I think being in touch and clearing your energies in your body, because when it's important when you're having sex with someone, if you're with a partner, you're exchanging energies with that person. There is a reason we are designed with so much more than we can ever even begin to comprehend. It's a never ending study. A female is born, and the first time she has sex, she brings blood. It's a blood exchange relationship. Now, today in our society, most of us don't share that relationship with that person that we did that first. We had lost our virginity to. But there's a lot of things. And when you're changing the energies with someone else, you want to make sure, because if I'll give you an example. Say me and Laundry, we meet and we go home, we have sex, and he or you in Laundry, maybe not, somebody in Laundry go home, they have sex. They get attached to
Hi.
him. Hey, they get attached to him because they loved his energy. His energy was flowing through them. They loved it. They craved it. They want it. And now they want to be with him 100%. They can't let him go. They're stalking him. They're chasing him. And he's like, oh my gosh, they had the worst energy I have ever felt in my life. I never want to see this person again. So there is a for real exchange of energies when you become intimate with someone. That's the reason that you want it to be with someone that is close to you and make it sacred and safe. But if you have that agreement beforehand, you know, you still can't control that. You can't control what your energies accept and what your energies put off. So you always want to heal anything that's inside of you before you exchange your energies with someone else. I say yes, that would be important.
Anybody else would like to speak on that? Yeah, you got it. There you go. Look at
So I kind of, my opinion is that we're always healing. So it's always going to be stuff coming up. We're like onions, right? So we peel an outside layer and we heal that, and then we peel another one and we heal that. So I think it's important to always be healing all of the
Always.
chakras.
Mm.
I think Dana's correct in that you certainly want to make sure that when you're going in that you're a clear channel to a loving relationship, the intimacy, and it's, and of course if we go back to the microcosmic orbit too, if your chakras aren't clear, it's going to make that difficult to do, to run the energy. Not impossible, but it can certainly make it a little more challenging. So I do think that it is important to keep the sacral chakra clear for that. But I wouldn't say that you have to heal it completely before, because that's what we're here for, is for healing and learning. For me, healing is about self-exploration. And so when we're doing self-exploration happens through your whole life. We're here to learn our life lessons. And so that's part of that healing process. So I
Absolutely.
think that's going to be an ongoing an ongoing thing. I think that's why it's important to be able to manage our energy well, in terms of keeping ourselves clear, doing our meditation, doing our, energetic hygiene stuff, because it helps with all of these other things. And the sacral chakra would be included in that as well. And balance, right? We want to balance the chakras. We don't want one that's over open and then the others are small. We want balance through the whole system, to help it to run properly. So that would be my take on the sacral.
Thank you very much. And Gary?
I was just going to agree with a lot of what she just said, that you want to work on it as much as you can before you get into a relationship, but then other things are going to come up. It's a process. It's a healing journey. So you don't have to feel that you have to be perfect before you get into a relationship, or withhold the sex act until you've done a certain amount of healing if you're already in a relationship. But yeah, do your work and keep working on yourself, and more will come up as a result of being in the relationship.
I think it's really important too is trust. That's part of the healing journey. You find a partner that you can trust and they're loving to you and you know that there's a flow going on. I think that is could be part of the healing journey itself with your sacral. I have sacral work that I do all the time, and it's part of my healing journey, but I don't withstand not having sex. In fact, it's part of my healing journey. It's my experiences and things. So I kind of work with that, but I definitely have to have a trusting partner and somebody that I trust and I can open up to. And like what you guys said, I believe in this. I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in all this because this is big for me. Is that we have to have a clear idea what's going on. You know what I mean? Making a choice that you aren't having a clear focus on, and picking a partner could be more harmful to you than helpful. So that's just my 2 cents into that. Anybody else would like to speak on it before we go into tantra? Yes.
Just a quick note. I mean, when I'm on the kink scene, when I'm at events, and I'll do pickup play with people will come up to me, will approach me. I don't know these people, so how do I handle a scene like that, and how do I manage that energy? A lot of these people, they don't know what they want. They think they know what they want, but they're coming with a certain amount of damage. And so in most cases, if I don't know somebody, I consider it a pants-on service. My clothes stay on, but I will work with you. And I will work with your energy, and we will figure out what you need. A lot of times, I've had situations where people they come, I want you to do this scary thing, whatever, and I'll do the thing, but at the same time, I'm tapping deeper because why do you want this scary thing? Why do you want this thing that you want? And there's usually an underlying reason. A lot of people go show up for these things, trying to process their trauma, seeking healing, and they haven't actually thought it through that way. But that's why they're drawn to it. That's what's bringing them to that. And some people are more aware, and they say, yeah, I'm trying to work through this trauma. I've had this past event that hurt me, and I'm trying to take back my power on it. And some people, they don't say that. They just, but they have a certain swagger. They walk up, they're trying to play it cool, but actually they're just broken inside. And that's what they're really about the moment they walk up, because their energy is screaming it at you. And so they start out and they think they're in this for this hot kinky experience or whatever, but what actually comes out of it is I've had people we've had to stop the scene because midway through, something for them inside clicks, something for them inside breaks, and then they're crying, and then you have to sit with them and you have to hug it out, and you let them process. They reach something that they didn't think they were going to experience, and you have to be ready for that. And that's a big part of something that I do with people. So you don't necessarily want to share your energy too deeply with someone in those situations, because that can hurt you. But a lot of what I do is working with people, preparing for that. and transforming their damage, finding their broken parts, and helping them get in touch with it, and helping them find the sacred in themselves that they might not be expecting or seeing or knowing is there. And so I agree with everything people are saying, except for the fact that a lot of people are going to seek out sexual relationships who are very broken, who are very damaged, and they're seeking healing and they don't know it. And you have to be ready for that too. And I think you shouldn't discourage people from seeking that healing when they're the people who need it the most. I guess is where I'm going with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So here is another subject that we're going to go back on. Tantra. Sherry, please describe Tantra to us and all the different everything. Just tell us everything you want to tell us.
I wish Devorah were here. She's here watching. Hi, Devorah. She and her husband have studied everywhere and very deeply. Tantra is an ancient spiritual tradition. There's even something in the Hindu background called the Tantras. And it's a way to live this life in a way that is healthier or more expressive. There are different forms of Tantra, possibly as many as there are Tantrikas. And but the three major one would be, there's a Buddhist Tantra, which the Dalai Lama is the head of. There is the Hindu Tantra, where Shiva is the main god and Shakti or Parvati is his consort. And then there is Neo-Tantra, which is what came out of Osho's teachings. The majority of Tantrikas that you're going to find these days are Neo-Tantra. They have learned, and with Neo-Tantra, I believe that there seems to be more of an emphasis on sexuality, even though that was not necessarily Osho's point. And there is White Tantra, which is, as far as I know, this goes across the board. White Tantra is meditation, all of the practices to become one with God or one with the universe, one with everything, one with truth. That is White Tantra. Practices to deepen that. Red Tantra are the sexual practices, and as my beautiful Tantrika taught me, his name is Krishna. Red Tantra is the size of the little fingernail on the body of Tantra. So it is very, very small compared to White Tantra. And then I have had some people even disagree that Black Tantra does not exist. And I kind of find that funny, because Black Tantra is magic, or using the energies and the skills that you have learned through practicing Tantra. You begin to manipulate reality. You can, make a pebble appear in your hand suddenly, or you can influence a situation in some way. So our sexuality, our sexual energy is so very powerful. To use that power to make something happen is, it seems just, well, of course that would work. Of course that would work. The way that I like to embody that, and to tell you the truth, I've very little to never worked with Black Tantra, would be to, and actually I cannot remember the name of it. I can tell you that I'm almost 70, I forget crap, especially when I need it. So basically what you're doing is you are bringing the energy up and putting your intention out and to Shiva, or to something that is smarter than you, and then letting it come down and be manifest. So you're basically not having it be your own will. Your will, or what you desire, is the place where you start and then you basically give it up.
Are you
And then
talking about the Kundalini?
Kundalini, of course, is part of the work, but it's not. I wouldn't say this is Kundalini. No. And if people don't know what Kundalini is, I'm not actually that good at describing it. If anybody else wants to take a turn, they can. But Kundalini is they say that at the base of the spine, there's a little earthen jar with a snake inside of it. The snake is Kundalini. And you do enough practices or meditation, or you have really, really good sex, and the jar can break open, and Kundalini, the snake, starts going up through the chakras, and it can go up part of the way, or it can go all the way up and right out the crown. And then my understanding is it also comes back down into the body. So you're having a very energetic experience. And in some ways, I like to put it, it's like you go from maybe 110 amp normal to 220 amps or more. Like the level of energy in your body can be so intense. They say that there are people that have done backflips across the room without touching the middle of the floor. It just is explosive.
But it is
And
different from Tantra, right?
and that is part of the it's not just Tantra, but yoga.
Okay.
It's a part of the Hindu experience, and it's very deeply intense. Anybody else want to talk about Kundalini?
I got a question for you though. Somebody would like to know, what is a tantric massage? Is that different from practicing tantra? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference when you hear tantric massage out there?
Me, I am not someone who's done so much depth of study. I like to work with the energy. I like to follow what I see for me is the right path. And so I'm not a scholar, but my understanding would be that Tantra massage came out of Neo Tantra. And it is basically a massage that begins to work with the sexual organs and the sexual energies. And with a Tantra massage, if someone's saying they're doing Tantra massage and you're not taught to do breath work and to move energy, basically you're getting a massage with release, a sexual massage. But they're calling it Tantra to kind of, you know, make it seem different, I know, or make it seem more acceptable. But it is working with the sexual energy. And I've actually had many Tantra massages, or I have been trained as a Tantrika by wonderful Tantrikas. And it is some of the most healing work I have ever done in my life. Like you said, one of us said, was it Dana, and Tanis, it's like we hold our pain, we hold so much pain in that sacral chakra, in this sexual center. And you start working with that, even if you're working at it because you want the pleasure of it. I remember for years when I first started having sex, I'd always cry. I'd always cry. Now I laugh. I kind of like the transition. I'll cry too, but it's mostly laughter. But it's like that, to be able, and I'm someone who believes that sex work should become legal in this country because it has so much healing power to it if it is done well. You certainly can end up going into a room with someone who's saying they're doing sex work, and it can be not a positive or pleasant experience if they don't want to work with the boundaries that you hold. But in general, a good sex worker, a good sex practitioner is going to be serving you. And to be in a sexual experience where it is all about you, you know that you've set it up and this experience is for you. You don't have to feel like you have to serve the other. This is only for you. That is so healing and enhancing. It's a beautiful experience. So I hope that answers the question.
I
I
think.
don't even remember what it was.
I think no worries, no worries. A couple people are just talking about the Kundalini because remember we're in a little lag, and no questions. Just that somebody said one of their teachers explains that the Shakti living at the base of the spine, rising through the body to meet the Shiva of the crown. Martha said the Kundalini can be an aspect of the Tantra. If Tantra was a book, the Kundalini would be a chapter of the book. How do you guys feel about that? I say that would be pretty much precise on that, to learn the energetic body, right? In Tantra, that we're learning it's an energetic body kind of thing, right? That comes physical.
Well, in some ways that it's, of course, Kathy, you and I have done the all love work, and it may use a different channel, but the whole point of going into initiation in all love or going into Kundalini, it's like the fact when the energies go up the spine and out the top of the head, basically you are reconnecting with your soul star, or you are basically becoming one with everything. You drop out of just being a normal human being. And that is the whole point of Tantra and the whole point of this spiritual search that most of us are on. That is the point of the sacred to me. So
You answered another question.
it's kind of like a baseline and more than a chapter. It's kind of like, well, this is the point,
Right. That's one of the other questions. They said, what is the point of Tantra? But you kind of answered that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, connection, education. I'm sure you get a lot of wisdom. I know every time I do my own spirituality, might not be as much sexual, but I like to get some information that way, like I channel information about myself. I get closer to myself and I start understanding about myself. I guess I do it in a way. I just don't think of it. And yeah.
Yeah, so that's also about connecting with that higher self, right? That spiritual aspect of us. So when we go up with that energy, it helps us to have that connection, and then we can go further and connect with the divine as well, right? Yeah. So it's like going through that, and that just helps us feel more complete, basically. If we're connected to our higher self.
Because it's us. Exactly. It makes sense, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else want to touch on that part? Is there anything anybody would like to say? Because guess what? It is 11 o'clock. That went fast. That went really super fast. I was thinking, I haven't told the panelists, I told Sherry, because I talk Sherry's ear off once in a while. And I told the panelists, I said that we'll see how things go and how the day goes and how we feel about it. And maybe we'll do a second part to this. Maybe we will think about doing it this way or inviting you onto Zoom to have a real face-to-face live, Brady Bunch kind of thing, little ordeal. So we'll talk about that and see how that works, and see what the public likes, because we're doing it for you and we're doing it for ourselves too. We're doing it to share and grow with ourselves. I got a lot of information off a lot of people in different ways of how to look at things. That's phenomenal to me. That's my new thing. I like to look at different perspectives and feel them in all different ways and just be in that moment at the moment. So, with this said, it's kind of like, see what you process after this and see where you're at. I'm going to have the panelists go on the live on Facebook, because they're not on Facebook, guys. They're on Zoom. And hopefully they'll have sometime in the next couple days to respond to you guys, give out their email, if you want to connect with them a little bit more, and just have that healing flow. So just remember, not everything's for everybody. It's how our journey is, and we're just very special on our life. Does anybody want to say anything in closing?
Thank you, Kathy. This was great. I think it can be helpful to a lot of people. I could see a part 2, definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you for putting this together, Kathy. It's great to have such diverse views, and the opportunity to speak. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well done, Landry. Did you want to say something, Landry? I didn't.
I could see this becoming a series. There's a lot here.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, and we just touched a little bit about it. I wanted to make the least last 10 minutes to do Tantra just a little bit because everybody was so excited about it. But, just tell us what you need, guys, in Reiki Studio. I'll develop something, for you. If you want a special subject or something like that you think you could go on for, a little bit of time, we're all there for you, Anybody else would like to say anything? Yes, ma'am. Whoop, we don't hear you, Dana. We got to hear you. You beautiful lady. She got the voice too, doesn't she?
I just think that we are all so divine and so loving, and some of us need to remember that. And we need to, first and foremost, right here today, let the past go. We have to be acceptance of ourselves, acceptance of our partners, acceptance of the ones around us. And it is so hard. I know I have people in my life that they can't go anywhere. They're part of it. And it's a complicated relationships, but that's a part of it. But we have to let go so that we can enjoy the divine that's in us, the divine that's in this life. Because even like this subject right here, sex, there is nothing taboo in life. Like somebody said earlier, there is no right and wrong. Right and wrong is what we perceive as an individual. So everything, we have to just let it go, find these relationships that bring us self-pleasure, that make us happy, and just be in the present. That is so, so important. And whatever it takes to heal you, because we are always healing, because we are human. And so there's always going to be something that makes us mad, and that's okay. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to let it stop you from having a wonderful future. You have to be able to draw the line, let the past be the past, and just live in this moment and explore your sexuality, explore who you are. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm a woman. I got boo. I mean, I'm a girl. I love being a girl. You might be a man. Love being that man. Love who you are. Bring what you are to the table, and thank you for having the show, because I'll rant.
You're great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Did anybody else want to say anything? Anything else? Guys, absolutely awesome. On my panelist side and all you Facebook people, I got to say, I love you guys and thank you so very much. And I'm going to give me a moment and we're going to close this off. There we go. Stop the live stream. See what happens.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. So I just stopped the live stream. It might take a couple minutes, but you guys did great. Holy crow. I don't think I've ever had such a cool panelist team before like this. I mean, holy moly, you guys really, everybody was so different and everybody just harmonized so well. And you should see, wait till you see the I couldn't sit there and tell you all the responses and thank yous they were saying to you guys. I mean, they're doing it now, they're going through, but what they're saying, great talk, thank you very much, everyone, giving little hearts. And when you guys were talking, they were saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You really, wait till you see it. It almost made me cry a couple times. I kind of like, it's awesome. It's awesome that people are open to this and really are grateful for you guys. So thank you very much. I want you guys to think about if you want to do a part 2 in this sometime and how you want to do it. Do we want to just invite people in to Zoom and just leave it off Reiki Studio or let it live on Reiki Studio? It seemed like it did pretty good live, but I don't know. We'll think about it and see what you okay? We'll invite Reiki Studio people, you know what I mean? Kind of deal to come in, but just to see what, yeah.
That's awesome.
Sound good?
Well, thanks.
Oh,
thanks for having me.
It's so great to meet you.
Nice meeting all of you. I hope
to
to see you again.
very much. You